What is up, Cabbage Crew? It is Matt and John here on a special edition of the Cabbage Crew chatting, since this is not hypothetically our podcast.
The
John,
Cabbage Crew Communications.
the Cabbage Crew, I don't really like that one. John, for the first time in a long time, watched Korra season 1.
Well,
He's
I did see season 1 last year.
okay. Well, you are rewatching Korra. I've
Yes.
rewatched Korra multiple times, so I don't really need to, but I will eventually. But
Yeah.
you are rewatching it kind of with new open eyes
Yes.
for the first time in a while.
Yeah, I'll explain the journey real quick. So
Go ahead.
obviously the original show 30 plus times, blah blah blah. I have a mutual friend who I actually do need to tell him about this podcast as he loves Avatar too.
Dropping the
He's out in
ball.
California, and I was talking to him. This was like back in high school. He's like, dude, like you gotta check out Korra. Like I know it's not the same, but like you just gotta do it. If you're a true fan, you gotta do it.
Mm-hmm.
And after excessive nagging and persuasion, I took him up on his offer to watch it. This must have been a year or two after this Legend of Korra ended, and watched it all the way through, all 4 seasons, I believe. And I thought it was okay overall at the time. And I was like, it's a show that I can just watch one and done, and then not watch again.
Mm-hmm.
But who knew that we were going to be starting a podcast and I'd have to watch this again?
Who knew they were going to make a third series and a cinematic universe?
Right. Last year I tried to rewatch it because I was like, it's been years, and I rewatched season 1 again for the second time, and it was like pulling teeth for me to finish it. I don't know what it was the second time around, but it was like pulling teeth to finish it. And then I started season 2, and I know that season 2 is objectively like the worst of the seasons in Legend of Korra and all this stuff. But like I went through like the first 10 or 15 minutes of the first episode of season 2, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm done. And then we start the podcast, and here we are where like I'm giving it a third rewatch, but this time I'm doing the whole this time I'm doing every season. So therefore, season 2, 3, and 4, this will be my second time watching it, where season 1, it was my third.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. I think maybe now that you know how certain things end, it was kind of a harder watch because you already know how things went,
For season 1? For season 1?
For just all the seasons, like rewatching season 2, you already knew how season 2 ended, correct? Because it was your second watch.
I haven't seen season 2 for the second time yet.
Because you gave up. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I gave up. Like I said, like
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like it
Yeah.
was your second time watching season 2. You were X amount of episodes in, and you said
I was
I'm
only on
giving
episode
up.
1 after 10 or 15 minutes of episode 1.
You hated it that bad?
It was like pulling teeth. Like
really?
For the second time watching, it was like pulling teeth, and I just quit right then and there. First episode of season 2, and then now this is the third. My second time rewatching all of season 2, all of season 3, all of season 4.
Mm-hmm. I'm pulling up the season Korra season 1 episode list.
It was I don't even those the name of the episodes just like it like in one ear and out the other.
That's the one thing that
Avatar
Avatar really did well, which was every episode seemed unique enough to be like you could almost like it was unique enough where like you could not watch the episode and kind of have an idea of what the episode might be about,
Right.
and you could, or vice versa, in the sense of you could watch the episode and almost guess what the episode was called, like The Drill. Like if you never watch that episode, it's like, okay, well, I saw the last episode and I saw that there was this big drill that was about to go to Ba Sing Se, so I'm
Right.
assuming they're gonna have to stop the drill.
Right.
And if you've never watched Avatar ever and you watched that episode and I asked you, what's the episode called? You'd be like, the drill? The drill into the wall? Yep, pretty much. And like Avatar did a very good job at that pretty much across the board of every season. It was like, what's this about? Where like I'm looking at some of these titles of Legend of Korra, and it's like the voice in the night. This, like
We're
when
getting
it
Netflix live action
came,
vibes right there.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's not. I mean, to be honest, there's 2 or 3 really good. Like, I like A Leaf in the Wind.
That's
The
that's a good title.
Republic City is solid.
Yeah.
Turning the Tides, Skeleton in the
Yeah.
Closet, like all the other ones are very like open ended
Hmm.
titles.
Like
Um,
in my notes, I just did like episode 1, 2, 3.
right.
I wasn't gonna remember the name of the titles. The Leaf of the Wind, I remember that was a very unique, good name.
So let's jump right in it. So
Mhm.
your thoughts. First scene of the Avatar Korra is I'm the Avatar. You gotta deal with it. It's Korra knowing all 3 elements or 3 of the 4 elements already at the age of maybe
Yeah.
6.
Yeah.
Um, how did you? Because some people are different about it. Some people love
Right.
it. They're like, oh.
Yeah.
Some people are like, kind of diminishes Aang and his journey a little bit.
Right. No, my first instinct, and pardon my French, was like, "What is this shit? What is this?" Um, I'm on the disagreement side. I think there needed to be more of a nuance of telling who would the Avatar be, like in the original, where like Aang chose toys that resembled the Avatar. Like it doesn't have to be exactly that, but
Hmm.
something close to that or similar. That's what I would have preferred, where like it was like a foretelling instead of like, oh my gosh, I'm out of the womb and firebending,
Yeah, fire betting out of the womb.
firebending out of the room. Just like, yeah, it didn't really make sense to me. Except, I guess they wanted to show that she's powerful already. I get why, um,
Mhm.
but I do disagree with it. So like I was like, oh no, what am I getting myself into on my third rewatch? Like whenever it's like 2 minutes in.
Yeah, like I said before, it kind of diminishes what Aang accomplished because
Right.
when we're watching Avatar: Last Airbender, we're like, Roku's explaining to him like it takes 20, 30 years to master all 4 elements, and you'll be
Exactly.
by the end of the summer.
Hmm.
And obviously Aang didn't necessarily master all 4 elements by the end of the summer, but he had to learn them, learn the techniques and skills to be
Yep.
able to apply them in a fight against Ozai. And it seemed like Korra could have done that when she was 6.
Yep.
And
No,
like, and it makes
yep.
Aang's journey. And we'll talk about how Korra does certain things that makes Aang's journey less lessened as well. But because there's more than just this, but it,
Right.
it very much makes Aang's journey. It's a slap in the face, in my opinion. I understand what they were trying to do with it because they're like, this is not going to be another show about an avatar learning all the bending skills. Like we already saw that. This is about a fully realized avatar and her problems.
Right, but also at the
Um,
same time, not fully realized. Like,
yeah, I mean, this is the problem of this series is what the last series is about, which is we have an avatar, but we don't have any airbenders. But there is
right,
one airbender. It's Aang's son. She
right.
has to go meet him, and she has to go. When before the series came out, I actually thought it was going to be about her trying to find Aang's son,
Oh, okay.
and that was what the season 1 was going to be about. But
Yeah.
obviously, it's different. But um, yeah, I mean, I didn't like it either. Now going into season 3, not to spoil it for you, I guess. But going
Hmm.
into season
I don't
3
remember much.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna spoil it, but it didn't make it make sense of why she did that and why they found her um that young, why they were
Right.
looking for her that young, which kind of helps. But yeah, not a great start the first 6 minutes. I can understand how people are like, this is badass, but like I think people that really kind of puzzle things together, they're like,
Right.
It's the show Korra's badass is not to take away what Aang did and taking away what Aang did by making her do something, if that makes any
Right.
sense.
No, it does.
So
Yeah.
you're highlighting her by making Aang's journey look less. So episode 1 introduces Republic City. What's your thoughts on not only Republic City but where the world is 80 plus years give or take after the journey that Aang had?
I'm overall okay with it. I like aspects of the advanced technology, but there's other aspects I don't like. Like for example, I don't think I'll ever get used to having cars in the Avatar world. I just don't. I just don't like. I just for whatever reason I'm just anti-car in the Avatar world. I just don't want it to be
Yeah.
like it. Just gave it a sense of like this is just not what Avatar is.
Avatar always has felt like in the same realm, same time frame, you could say, as like a Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
And it made it like it's like imagine watching Lord of the Rings, but they have cars, and you're like,
Exactly.
or like even like trains, and you're like, what? Like this doesn't make sense. And like
Right.
Avatar, The Last Airbender was kind of getting there with some of the military from
Right.
especially
And
the
that's
Fire
what I
Nation.
like. I like the
Mhm.
military aspects of the weapon development and technology,
Right.
but not the cars on the road. That was like
The
and
everyday item.
yeah, I just could care less slash like didn't really care for
This
him.
is out of this is out of left field.
Mhm.
But what really sometimes annoyed me, actually really annoyed me, is that they wanted to go backwards with metal by being like, it's platinum. It's like, come on now, like we invented metal bending.
Mhm.
You as a show made the choice that everyone all of a sudden you have all these metal benders now instead
Right.
of just being like maybe just Lynn knows what metal like you made a
Right.
choice that there's a bunch of metal benders and
And
now
and
you're
lightning bend. I mean
yes.
we can go on and on about I was gonna get to that about
Well, we'll get
like
to it right now because lightning bending does happen I
sure.
believe in episode 2 they show
Yeah.
it. Maybe they showed episode 1, but
Yeah.
what's your thoughts of the fast progress of all these bending styles? Not only lightning, but we see blood bending, we see a lot of metal benders. They
Yeah.
normalize a lot of what was a very rare uh bending style, sub bending.
Yeah. I I'm overall I don't like it because it's just like what you said, like it lessens the aspects of the original show about having it being unique and rare.
Hmm.
Um, for metal bending, I kind of accept it because Chief Bei Fong, being Toph's daughter, probably wanted to teach her police force what she knows. Like I can
Well,
under
well, not to cut you off there, but in the comics, which is canon, Toph is actually the one that develops the police force in the
no, I
city.
know. No,
Yeah.
I knew that. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, there's the statue of her and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I'm just saying that like Chief Bei Fong, like I guess in the start, sure, like Toph probably like did it, and then she like passed it down to Lynn, and then Lynn taught her force and all that stuff.
Hmm.
Um, so like I'm more accepting of that. I'm not accepting of the lightning. I'm not accepting of. Uh, I guess that's the only real one that I have real issue with is lightning.
Yeah. Is lighting.
Um,
Me too.
because bloodbending, it's still rare. It comes
Yeah.
back, but it's rare still.
You
But
can
I'd
make an
say
argument with bloodbending is still just one powerful bloodline.
correct.
One of them was 40 years ago, actually in
Hmm.
Aang's time, and then the other two were just brothers that both had powerful bloodlines.
Right.
So
Yeah. I mean that. I guess it's circumstantial of what my opinion really is about it. Like, so
mhm,
I'll just like clarify. Lightning, completely disagree with it. It
mhm.
needs to be rare. Not everywhere. Um, but metal bending, I accept it. Even though I still slightly disagree with it, I understand it and I accept it. Uh, blood bending, no issue there because it's still rare.
Hmm.
And they kept that pretty sacred. Um, and I just do want to touch on like one thing that I did notice in the beginning
Hmm.
was the animation style has it different. Um, where it's definitely leaning more towards the anime side of things with the eyes, with the like how they
Oh,
draw the
okay.
eyes and like the eye in the action sequences
Hmm.
uh with the bending and like they're using more slow motion.
Okay.
I don't know if I agree with that and how it's being depicted. Um, there's been a lot of slow mo fight sequences that I don't think it worked well. Um, and I I do wish it was just like what we're used to in the sense of it toes the line between anime and cartoon. I think that's the way it should have continued with Korra instead of
Hmm.
leaning more towards the animation or the animation, the anime side of things.
See,
Um,
I didn't think they had. I don't think. I think it just looked crisp. Like it looked a little bit more. I don't know if they used a little bit like it wasn't as much hand drawn, or I'm not gonna act like I know anything when it comes to animation, but it seemed like it was a lot more crisp, and
no, I
it
agree.
looked
I agree.
closer to the finale of what After Last Airbender was, but the entire show. But they did do some. I mean, they
No, I
involved
agree.
in
Like
some different
it looked
things.
better. Like it did look better. I'm just saying, or not maybe better, but like it did look just
Visually looked
the same.
better.
Visual looked better, but I'm saying like in terms of the fight sequences, it turned to anime. Like that's what
Mm,
I'm talking. Like if
I
you
didn't get that. I didn't get
with
that.
like Yukon and um like fighting Tano in the fire ferrets in the arena, like it was very much like I got Pokemon vibes. Like
Really.
I did.
So I would say the one thing that Avatar did season to season was they very much changed a lot. I mean, we talk about it. Some of the jokes they
hmm,
changed up. Like they evolve. It seems like every episode or season of certain things. So I kind of take this as a next step of like, okay, this animation's closer to what I would say the last 10 episodes of the last Airbender was, and now they're leaning a little bit more, maybe into more anime. I didn't get the sense that there was too much
you
anime.
didn't get that? Okay.
No,
I'm not saying it was an
but
overwhelming majority. I'm just saying
you
in
just noticed
certain
some things, yeah.
yeah, I'm just saying situationally
Mhm.
it was very much anime like and I did not like that. Like I just wish the entire time it's what it because like I'd say, you know, probably in the original, I don't know statistically, but I'm thinking like it was since it toes the line, like 50-50. I would say now it's more like 60-40 anime.
Okay,
That's what I'm trying to say.
okay, yeah, fair enough. Um, so going back to the season, the actual episode itself,
Yeah.
and how that all played out. Her meeting Lynn, her introducing
Hmm.
everybody. I actually thought the episode one was a pretty smooth episode. It did a good job at introducing the city, the time, introduced Tenzin and Lynn, who are two older characters that connect
Hmm.
us to our main characters.
Yep.
So I mean, I remember watching episode one. I was like, pretty good. I like it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And then you agree with me. I think episode two, which was called the leaf in the wind. I think that episode, especially how it ended with her using some of the some of the techniques that Tenzin taught her,
Hmm.
and making it come back around to actually like something she enjoyed doing,
Yep.
and her kind of understanding the lesson he was trying to teach her. I think that all came back around. I think episode two was a good episode. I will say I didn't love how they introduced. Let's just talk about the elephant in the room because I think
Okay.
me and you can both agree with it. They introduced it in episode two,
Okay.
the love relationship between Mako and Korra. I
Okay.
hate it. I hate it. I thought you were going to agree with me. You liked it.
I have to rethink like how it was introduced.
Well, just the whole like, I'm Mako, I'm cool. Bolin kind of had a crush on Korra. Korra liked
Correct.
Bolin. Korra liked Mako. Mako
Correct.
didn't pay attention to her. Then
That wasn't all episode two though.
no, that was all episode two. Yeah, and
That
then
was
she
like
ends up
three or four.
no, and then she ends up joining the Fire Ferrets. She's kind of a badass. he's still kind of a prick to her, but it's just
Right.
more of this like this flirtiness. And then by the end of the episode, Mako's looking into the distance at
Right.
Air Temple Island, and
Oh, I hated
they're
that.
kind of
I
looking at each
hated
other
that.
from afar, and you can kind of tell, like
Um,
as an audience member, like okay, this story is going to include their relationship
yep.
and what it kind of becomes. And
I
I
hated
didn't like,
that.
yeah, I think one of the reasons why season 1 and season 2 are the least likable seasons for me, it's because of the Mako love triangle with Isami and Korra and
Mm,
what they were trying. Season 3 and season 4 stuck to the story, stuck to the villains, stuck to the relationships with the friends, like Avatar: Last Airbender did, and they would blend it with some small love stuff, but
right.
that was mainly not of like a toxic triangle. It was more of like Bolin liking a girl and the girl end up liking Bolin, like just
Right.
natural relationship stuff. And
Right.
it got to what the point of the show is, and it ended up being great. Season
Right.
1 tried way too hard to be something, tried to be more of a teenage show.
Correct. And I personally, I mean, we'll get to it later a little bit, maybe, but just building off of it, one thing I really did not like was Asami like realizing. Obviously, we get wide in the plot, but just realizing that like, oh my gosh, Mako might have feelings for Korra. I'm very suspicious. But then like Korra's missing, and that's all she's worried about. And it's like, so Bolin, does Korra like Mako? And and
Well, I could see that. I could see it.
not while you're
I could
looking
see that.
for, not while you're
Yeah.
no, no. There's a time and place to talk about that stuff. I agree with Mako. Like, we need to put our relationship on hold. We got to find Korra first. That's what it should have been about, not the relationship stuff.
Yeah, but I can see. You have to remember. I know Asami. Korra is the Avatar,
Yeah.
obviously, but
Mm-hmm.
Asami met Korra like
Well, I didn't know
yeah,
that.
Asami met Korra like yesterday. So like yeah, they're looking
Oh, I
for
thought
Korra.
Asami was the Avatar.
Get out of here. You know what I mean?
Cool.
Like it's just it's tough, but it's one of those things where I can't hate the writing, hate the plot, hate Asami
The
for
writing's fine. It's
for
actually fine.
that question while they're walking down the tunnels of while they're walking like that for me wasn't a big deal. I
Oh, it
actually
was a big
like
deal.
I think Asami's one of the better characters.
She's
Um
good. Yeah.
it's unfortunately like I feel like they wrote her character to be the love interest to Mako, and then they changed it, and they didn't really like. I feel like they didn't really know what to do with her after that. Like
Well,
they're in
they
season
do know
two.
what they did to do her later
What in season 2? You mean? Oh
in
yeah, yeah,
season.
yeah. No, but I'm talking about like season 2. They had her kind of on a side quest with like, and we'll talk about this stuff later, obviously with other. But like they had her on a side quest with Bolin, and season. I don't even remember what she was doing in season 3 and season 4. I mean, like season 3, the whole crew was together. That's why I think it's the
Yeah.
strongest season because it was literally the whole crew together at an adventure. Season 4, I can't even tell you what she was doing. So, but the leaf of the win, leaf in the wins. So let's just do quick little rankings.
Sure.
If you had to give each episode, just like we did with the live action,
Mm.
out of 5, what would you give Republic? Welcome to Republic City.
Out of 5,
Three being average, 5 being amazing, one being horrible. Anything under
mhm.
one's offensive.
uh 3.4.
So you give it a positive review.
Yeah.
Positive. Okay. Yeah, I would be probably around there too, like a 3.5, 3.75. Probably a little
Yeah.
bit more just because of nostalgia. All
Mm-hmm.
right, well, leave from the win because we just talked about that.
Mm-hmm. Uh 3.6.
Okay. Yeah, I'm about there. That's so like so far so good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm about there too. So the revelation. Now that was and I might be missing it here, but that was the episode where Bolin gets essentially captured, and they have to
Mm.
go chase down. They have to go to Amon's rally,
Yeah.
and this is kind of where they introduce Amon a little bit more,
Yeah.
and they have to save Bolin. You find out Bolin. I believe in this episode you find out Amon can take away bending. Correct?
Yeah. Correct.
Okay. What's your overall thoughts about that episode?
Probably about the same 3.6.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I will say this is where it started for me. Probably like 3, 4, 5. Like these 3 episodes, it kind of became more of like okay, this is just one long story. Where like Avatar was town, like we talk about all the time. They jump town to town for the first season, and we don't
Right.
really get a story until like halfway through season 2, and that's when like you actually get a real arc. Like episode 2 or episode 3, like introduces the idea that this is like, oh yeah, this is gonna be one big arc. Like we're not gonna have like episodic. Like you have to watch all these episodes in order to understand what's going on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which Avatar season 1 I think avoided. Yeah, I like this episode. It wasn't my favorite. I'm trying to remember. Again, I haven't watched it in a long time, but I believe it was they. Is this where they introduced the Asami, or they didn't get there yet?
Asami was episode 5.
Oh, okay, she's a little bit later. Okay. So a voice
Sorry,
that,
yeah, 4. Oh, wow.
yeah,
Episode 5, 4 or 5. It's 4 or 5.
yeah, and then they have the voice in the night as the next episode, and this is when Korra was like trying to be a badass and call him out, right?
Right.
And then, in my opinion, Amon does one of the stupidest tropes that they do all the time with villains, which is, I could kill you now, or I could beat you now, but I'm gonna wait because of whatever. And they did it
Right.
in an okay way. Like I'm gonna wait. I exactly. I don't remember why he waited, but it's like, couldn't you just take away her bending right now
Right.
and end it? And like, yeah, I think what he said was, if I take away your bending now, then there's gonna be revolts
Right.
against.
No, yeah, it was understandable.
Okay.
I bought it.
Now, do you buy Amon? Did you like Amon as a villain? We'll
I
talk about the
do.
bloodbending stuff
Oh,
later.
I do. Oh, I do. Yeah. I like the mask.
I did too.
Uh, he's like a mix of like the Riddler and Joker combined, kind of, in
Okay.
my thoughts.
Love the voice acting too.
Oh, it was good. It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was menacing. He was definitely menacing.
Hmm.
So the spirit of competition, and I skipped this just to talk about in this episode. This is Voice of the Night, by the way. I probably would give it like barely a 3. It was like an okay episode.
Was that mostly about the arena and like the love triangle stuff?
The Voice in the Night.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think, to be honest, man, I couldn't tell. That's why I barely give it a 3, because I don't remember it being bad, but I don't really remember it too much. Like I think this is when like she like joins up with Tarlock, and they start like
Oh,
doing stuff together. But I might be wrong.
three point two then for me.
I just don't remember too much about that episode, and like I don't remember it being because I have like 1 or 2 specific episodes where I'm like, I didn't love it, and I feel like that's not one of them. So the spirit of competition, I feel like, is the episode I didn't like a lot, and that is when they introduce Asami,
Yeah.
and her father,
Mhm.
and they kind of show the competition of the fire ferrets and the arena bending.
Right.
What are your thoughts about the? I might not be called arena bending, but what's your thoughts about the arena bending? Or the
No, I what I immediately thought of was that the creators wanted to expand on Earth Rumble 6 and make it more of a sport rather
Mhm.
than wrestling entertainment.
Mhm.
And so that's what I thought. It was fine. I thought it was an okay okay concept to add and adapt to. Uh, make it into more of a sport where um, even though it's new, it holds tradition because like what I think what I believe it's what Bolin said, where it might have been Maka, I forget, one of them two said it,
Mhm.
but they said where that's the last place right now where not benders and non-benders can be like cohabitate
Yeah.
really, like
Right.
in a sports competition like that. So um I thought it was like I said, it was like an okay concept. I wasn't like a huge fan of it because I just thought it was just for plot convenience and wasting time a little bit
Mhm.
for the overall plot with like Amon and
Mm-hmm.
like using up minutes, 7 minutes in an episode probably on that stuff. Um, yeah, just okay.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I'm probably in the minority. I've never been a fan of it. I think, to be truly honest, I think when they originally got it, they had 14. They might have more episodes, and I thought they were maybe going to expand on that more. But like, it just feel like it's this weird 2-3 episode arc in the show, and then we don't even go back to it in other seasons. They have like a split minute with it in like season one, like showing that like Boland's still there and like
Yeah,
trying to get the team together. But like, or in season two, but like we never go back to it, and
right.
so it is kind of a this concept that they bring up. And it's interesting, but it's just I think I really think the problem about season one is it's kind of messy. Like each individual episode, we're even talking about it, but like each episode's like a 3.5. Like, each episode's solid, but it's kind of a messy series.
It is messy.
And it's messy. And I think if you took that out and you made it 10 episodes and you just
Right.
did it some way else, like it could have been faster, cleaner,
Hmm.
not as messy, and like take out the love triangle, and it could have been a little bit more straight to the point and a little bit better of a series, and you could have
Right.
fleshed out characters more.
And
So,
just building off of like the messiness
mhm.
and like kind of the everywhere. And I hope you'd agree that the endings of every episode just don't land. Like most of them just don't land like almost at all. It's like a quick thing and then boom, it's over. Whereas like in the original, there was an ending.
Yeah,
Like every episode had a just a like had a finish. It did. It had a complete thought.
yeah,
And then there's several episodes in here where like it's just like where Tenzin goes. Like obviously, like I'm paraphrasing slash like a rough. It might be even a fake example, but just like where Tenzin will just like go up and just be like, and then we will see, and then just like ends the episode. And I'm
right.
like, what the? It's like that's not an end.
Well, I will say, kind of going back to what I was saying before about the structure of the series.
Hmm.
Um, going back to Avatar: Last Airbender, then I'll bring it back to Korra. Like Avatar, again, they did a good job at first being like, we love to have you through this whole ride, but if you just want to watch one episode and you want to just pick up where the episode starts, every episode can be on its own as just one episode. You can just sit down and watch an episode of
Hmm.
Bato of the Water Tribe, and I think that's why people like the desert is like the classic example. Not the desert. I'm sorry. The Great Divide is the classic example of like three friends just with a problem, and they just go and fix the problem. And so they do that a lot, and they simplify. Avatar they just simplify everything. It's like, again, going back to the drill episode. It's like Serpent's Pass. What's it about? Going on a Serpent's Pass. That's the episode.
Right.
The drill. What's the drill about? The drill. What like they have? It's like team traveling. There's an object. There's something in their way, or there's a bad guy, or there's an
Right.
objective to do. The objective is the episode's name. They do the objective or beat the bad guy or they win the mini quest, and then they move on.
Right.
And this is one big story. So it's like every episode, going back to Korra, one big story. Every episode is not going to end perfectly because there's still an overarching story to tell, which is beating Amon. And Avatar: Last Airbender still had an overarching story, but again, each episode ended with the threat or the objective being over. You know what I mean? So if you look at season one, it's like they went to a Mashu. They had this villain that they had to take down who ended up being his friend. You know, every episode had its own individual plot, individual story, individual goal, and they think of it like as mini bosses in a game, like a video game. You have mini bosses in each level. You keep moving through the level until you get to the North Pole. Where this is one long video game.
Yeah.
There's no levels in this video game. You just and so in
Decent.
Korra,
Yeah. Decent.
that's my like analogy, I guess. Like Korra doesn't have levels. Korra is one long story. So each you're never ending. Like when you're pausing, you're not like like I almost think of if I watch this 12 episodes combined and it's just like a 5-hour event, it would make more sense sometimes,
I see. Sure.
you know? So that's kind of where I'm getting at
Right.
with Korra. And but by making it into a series, it can sometimes be a little bit messier because like what you said, there are some episodes that end and you're like, that's an odd ending because it's almost like the story didn't know how to end it
Right.
because they didn't need to end it because they had
That's fair.
more story to tell, but that's just the next episode. So
Yeah. No, that's fair. I mean, I see what you're saying. But let's talk about the Airbender Island. Do you
yeah,
like it? Like, do you like it?
Airbender, the idea of Airbender Island. Well, real quick before we jump to that, the
Okay.
spirit of competition.
Hmm.
What would you grade that episode? Because that's probably my least favorite episode of the season.
And that was the finale of the fire ferrets and
That
their
was before they fought them. That was when they essentially got to the championship, but they did not do the championship yet. This is not when Amon attacked.
This was about a 3.
Yeah. So we're okay. So we're halfway through. Now we can talk about let's talk about the if you want to talk about Air Temple Island.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, it was okay. I mean,
Yeah.
why do you have a certain way about it?
Well, no, I thought it was a great idea to
Mm-hmm.
have um, just like a rebuilding of the air temple, or like where Tenzin's family can live and other airbenders can probably live if they wanted to train there, um, so that Tenzin can keep an eye on Republic City.
Yeah.
Um, and this is probably mentioned in the comics, but I would like to know what you know.
I don't know.
Where's more Sky Bison?
So how they find Sky Bison and how they find lemurs.
Yeah, like because there's
They
Oogie.
Yeah, so they find lemurs. Um, I believe they just find hidden lemurs. Like they just find. I mean, the lemurs are small animals, so they're just deep in caves and stuff like that. Um, the They actually kind of talk about it in Korra. There was like basically a small civilization on one of the islands, and I believe it was the Fire Nation that were essentially herding bison, and they had like a dozen of them that were still alive, and they were just keeping them. Kind of an odd way of doing it, but it is what it is. Like they find out that there were people that were keeping bison.
Was that in the comics or in Korra?
I think Korra mentions it.
What did they say
I
specifically?
think it's in the comics as well. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Like
I mean, we'll talk about that at another time,
we'll talk
but
about that another time. I'm sure we'll talk about that when we start talking about the comics more.
yeah,
But it's very convenient type of stuff.
yeah,
'Cause it's like 100 years have passed, and you're saying no one saw these, 10,000-pound bison flying around this
right,
island.
right.
So, but okay, so let's move on to and the winner is. This is probably my favorite or second favorite episode of the season.
It's good. It's very good.
Yeah, with
I give it like a 3.7.
3-7. I agree. Yeah, probably 3-7 to 3, maybe a 4, because it's the first time I actually cared about the the competition part of it of like who's gonna win because it
Sure.
is like the championship. They
Mhm.
make I forgot his name, but the guy that they're
Tana,
competing against,
Tana.
they make him kind of a jerk, and you're like, okay, I kind of want to see them lose,
Yeah,
and then they do win, and Fire Ferrets lose, and then and Amon uses that as an example as like they're cheating. This is
right.
what benders do. They abuse, they take advantage of. You're cheering for cheaters. You all know he cheated. You still don't
Yep.
care. This is the type of people you are, kind of thing,
Right.
and used it for his advantage. And then
Mm-hmm.
great fight sequence at the end with Lynn, and great
Oh
character
yeah,
development with
it was
Lynn.
great. That was my favorite out of probably the whole series, actually.
Mhm. Yeah, This is the middle of the series is where it ramps up, in my opinion.
Yes.
Like there's like 3 good episodes in a row. Like there's this episode, and then Aftermath's a pretty good episode.
Yep.
And I believe that's when she is. I think that is where. Maybe not Aftermath. I'm trying to think of what Aftermath is. Oh, Aftermath is when she does join Tarlock, and
Oh,
they're investigating in um Sato's mansion. And I think that's that whole sequence, which
I
is
love that one. I love the investigation into Sato.
okay.
That was real good.
Yeah, I like that. Cabbage Corp getting blamed for everything.
Cabbage.
Yeah, that one I think was a little bit slower of episode, but I do believe that is when they do the whole "you can't bend this, it's platinum." Oh my god,
Well,
man!
no, that was the episode after, I think.
No, I think that is that because when Extreme meets is when.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's when. I think
Okay.
that's when. Maybe you're right. I just know that like this is when it gets messy, in my opinion.
Yes.
Like after the tournament, after the mod, like 8, 9, like 7, 8, 9, 10, kind of messy. Even though nine's a great episode, it kind of gets a little messy. Where it's almost like looking back. I've seen the series 5, 6 times. Looking
Mm-hmm.
back, I'm like, I don't even remember what happened in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like they could have easily shortened some of this stuff up, or
Oh
had
yeah.
like I really do think this could have been a maybe not a movie, but like a 5-episode event, 6-episode event, and they accomplished the same thing. Um, yeah, so Extreme Meets is, I believe, that is when I will say it ends very good. That's when Asami and all of them get arrested,
Yes.
and Korra confronts Tarlock. They have the fight. It reveals he
Right.
is a bloodbender. Probably, if not one of, probably the best fight of the season. With him
I thought
using
the Lin one was.
on top of the building.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great fight too. Um, but yeah, I mean, Torlock is a water bending villain that we haven't really seen before, and he's like a
Is he a
menace.
villain or an anti-hero?
No, he's a villain. He's not an anti. I don't believe. I mean, I'm gonna capture the Avatar and hold her hostage. Just not his anti-hero. Like his plan was to
How
take.
about anti-hero with villainous tendencies?
Well, his plan was to take down Republic City from the inside.
He's anti-hero with villainous
He's like, no,
tendencies.
no, no. That's like saying bait. That's like saying Long Fang was an anti-hero because they almost had the same like motivation of power, taking
Hmm.
down from the inside. Yeah, anti-hero.
Okay, Long Fang's an anti-hero with villainous
Yeah,
tendencies.
anti-hero is more like Jet.
No, you're right. You're right. It's just he's like a lesser villain, is what
Yeah,
it.
yeah, he's a sub villain. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
to be honest, an anti-hero, you can make an argument that what they could have done is what was that his name again? Something with a T.
Tana.
They could have made him into a better character, and he could have had a redeeming arc and joined their team. That would have been interesting. Like he's just
That
kind
would
of,
have been.
and he's
That's a
just,
good idea.
yeah, he's just, and maybe by the end of the season, they give him the betting back. Cool. I
Yeah.
wonder if she did.
We don't know.
Yeah. Um,
She probably did. I
she
think.
probably did. I
Yeah.
think she gave it back to everybody because there's only a couple, maybe a dozen people that lost for bending.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, great fight scenes. What now? And I would give that like a 4, just for that, like a 3.75. Like that episode, in my opinion, is a very strong episode because it ends
It is
so
a strong
strong.
episode. I'd probably give that one like a 3.6.
Now, Out of the Past is the Aang episode. I mean, let me know.
That's the episode
4.25,
9.
baby. Yeah, that's a great episode.
It is a great episode. I liked very vast majority of it. I just didn't. I mean, of course you had to end it somehow, but I just didn't like how like Yakone like gets Aang right, and then like
Mm.
Aang just suddenly gets into the Avatar state, and just immediately Earthbends him, takes it into. Like I
Well,
just
I have a theory. I know this isn't
no.
the theory episode.
Let's hear it.
The Avatar state is the combination the knowledge and power and skill set of all
Yep.
past avatars.
Yep.
Aang is able to resist bloodbending during the Avatar state. Right? He's getting crippled up, and then boom, he's in the Avatar state. He stops it. He's able to past Avatar. There was a blast past Avatar that was a bloodbender.
So therefore, Korra can do the same thing when she's in the Avatar state too.
I guess.
What do you mean you guess? It's a yes or no question.
Yeah. I mean, not at this point because she was never able to.
But when she's
Yeah,
in the Avatar state, like because
yeah. I mean,
any Avatar that's in the Avatar
mhm.
state can
if,
withstand.
if she was ever getting bloodbended and she got into the Avatar state, she would have the ability of a past Avatar that knew bloodbending. Because my theory is that Aang was able to go into the Avatar state while he was getting bloodbended by Yakone. Yo, what the fuck?
That was the Ghost Bender.
What the fuck?
That was the Ghost Bender.
My theory is
Looks the spirits are still angry. Hope you all have
yeah.
sacrifices.
I gotta get a new one.
Name the episode if you know the quote. Comment below, Cabbage True.
All right. So anyway, but my theory is that Aang was being bloodbended by Yakone.
Yeah.
Was pretty close to death, or at least looked like he was in trouble. Went to the Avatar state, was able to get out of the bloodbending, and pretty quickly defeat him. The theory is he went to the Avatar state and was able to get out of bloodbending because there was a past Avatar that knew bloodbending, and that is why he was able to resist the bloodbending. What's your thoughts?
Look, is it out of the realm of possibility? No, it's not. Am I going to go down that rabbit hole? No. So
fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for conspiracy theories in the Avatar world, but that one I don't know if I buy. I mean, look, there might have been an Avatar that was an evil Avatar. I mean, really?
Who said she was even evil? I mean, I guess my thing is,
no, but I'm just saying, like, they're probably like just building off of that. They're probably
right. There might the light spirit is it's the light spirit that is in the Avatar, so you'd assume they're a genuinely good person. Maybe they turn dark. Maybe there is one that turned dark. I will say that we as audience members, I've said this before. We in Avatar's Airbender, we've mainly only seen like 3 or 4 years of Aang's time, and then glimpses of other times. So we act like we know how this world works, but we really don't. Who's to say that there was other bloodbenders hundreds of years, 500 years before Aang?
Right.
And it's just Yama. What was her name? Hama. Hama was the first one in this era.
Right.
But it's not like we don't know if there's a bloodbender, 3,000 years before Aang. I think the convergence. I think the first Avatar was 10,000 years. So
right.
You never know.
Exactly.
So
anyway.
interesting idea. But anyway. Yeah, turning the tide.
So Aang defeating Yakone, I just thought it was Aang defeating Yakone. I just thought it was a little bit too quick.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand you had to end the fight somehow. I guess, but I just wish it was in a different way.
Going back to the energy bending, yeah,
right.
I can understand that. Yeah, I thought the episode altogether was great. Do wish that they had. I do wish that they had a little bit different of a way that Korra communicated with Aang. Like, she really, in the entire show, she really only communicates with Aang like 2 times. Like, talks to Aang, how Aang talks to Roku, like 2 times, and they're both very brief.
Where she talks to Aang.
Yeah, and I just wish that they treated Aang like they treated Roku to Aang, like had in-depth conversations. Like, Aang, I don't know what to do here. How do I? And I can understand season 1 them doing that because she didn't master the spirit stuff.
exactly,
Yeah,
and that's what I
yeah.
was trying to get to, which makes
Season
sense. It makes sense to me.
in season one it makes sense, but I just wish in season two it was like, Aang, what do I do here? And Aang's talking to her, and we're like, this is Aang. We never really got that much. Like, every time I tell somebody, I kind of lie. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm
I'm trying.
gonna lie.
I do. No, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of lie.
I'm gonna lie.
I'm not gonna lie.
I'm gonna lie. But
I'm
I'm not
not
gonna
gonna
lie.
lie in this exact moment, but I do lie when I tell people because they'll be like, "Oh, should I watch Korra?" And I'm like, "Korra." I'm like, "The really interesting, cool thing about Korra," or I'll just be like, "Did you like Avatar?" They're like, "Yeah." Like, there's a sequel series about the next Avatar, and they'll be like, "Oh, cool." And I'm like, "Yeah." And the cool thing is that Korra, just like Aang was able to talk to Roku, Korra could talk to Aang, and they're
Oh,
like, "Oh, sweet." And I'm like, and I'm just trying to like, trick them, and I'm like, "Yeah, it's a really cool con." And they're like, "Yeah, that's awesome." And then like, I'm not lying, like she can, like that happens twice, but like it would have been cool to see it like way more. And and it'd be cool to see this new Earthbender Avatar talk to Korra and see an older 60-year-old Korra, or however old she ends up
right,
being.
right.
Like that would be really cool, and they didn't utilize that as much. They do a little bit in this Out of the Past episode, but not as much. Now, turning the tides.
Hmm. Well, I was just gonna say real quick
Mhm.
that I just like Cora just does. She's not a spiritual person. I think that's just her personality.
But she
Um,
does become later.
I mean, I don't know. Remember? I
Well,
don't remember.
okay. Well, you
But
saw it. But yeah, yeah.
I have, but I don't
Okay,
remember.
fair
You
enough.
know, you know. But I'm just saying, like right now, and even maybe even season two, she doesn't become a spiritual person from what I've been watching so
Yeah,
far. And
but they could have just made her spirit. Like
they could have, but they didn't.
no, no.
No,
But I guess what I'm saying is, Aang wasn't spiritual in season one either. Like he was, but he didn't even know what the spirit world was, man. Like he barely knew anything, and he was able to
correct.
talk to Roku multiple times. Like by the end
Yeah.
of season one, Aang was not like she was able to go in and out of the Avatar state on her own by the end of season one. You would
Hmm.
think that would be the time where it's like, okay, she's able to communicate with her past lives, like,
Right.
and that's why I'm like okay with season one not doing it, but I just wish they did it later on.
Okay.
So real quick here, let's just kind
Yep.
of bang out all three of these because they are kind of all leaning into the next three episodes. Turning the Tide, Skeleton in the Closet, and Endgame.
Yep.
So they introduced the voice actor of Zuko back,
Yep. Yep.
Dante Bosco, which
Yep.
was cool.
Yeah.
He doesn't get really utilized a lot in the rest of the series, but
A
they do
little bit.
bring
I mean, he still talks.
no, just in the series. Like that character is not in the
Oh.
series that much more.
Oh. Okay.
But it's cool to have him there. And I guess this kind of brings everything together. This is probably the last main thing we talk about. What's your thoughts on the story of the two brothers, Yakun's sons? What do
Hmm.
you think? What are your thoughts on all
That that ate up a lot of time.
because
Um,
yeah, it did.
and I just remember it being kind of again just like plot convenience to this explain the story of Amon and like giving us backstory, which I'm all for giving backstory,
Hmm.
but it's kind of like the way that it was done. I just disagree with, because it felt rushed. It felt like, okay, we're
Hmm.
like ending things soon, and we need to find a way to figure it out. And so
Yeah,
like it like just needs to be better. It needed to be better run,
flushed out.
flushed out,
Mhm.
and like I just wish I got I wanted to connect to it more because I could tell I felt something towards it,
Mhm.
like the whole story and how sad it was trying to make it be,
Mhm.
but I just wish it was done properly.
You know what it reminded me of?
Oh, I already know exactly what you're gonna say.
What? And now
Zuko and Ozai.
part of it is right. It reminds me of the live action attempts they try to do with Zuko and Iroh.
Yes. Yeah.
They
Zuko
yes,
and Iroh.
Zuko and Iroh. As in they try to make us feel emotions and they rushed it. The emotions were still there, but they
Uh,
were only there because we knew what they were attempting.
right.
And again, I'm talking about live action Iroh and Zuko. Like we knew what
Correct.
they're we were only feeling that way because we knew we've seen Avatar: The Last Airbender. So when we hear that music of Leaves from the Vine and him sitting
Right.
there with his son's casket, like if you
Mm-hmm.
watch that for the first time, you would be like, "This is episode 2, man. I barely even know who Iroh is." We felt that way because we had the memory of the original Leaves from the Vine. So
Right.
when we're watching this, like we have the sadness, I guess, because maybe you can connect in a way, whatever it is, but it's not necessarily sadness towards these characters. Like we don't really know any of these characters. We don't like or really know Tarlok too much.
No.
We don't we met
We're not
Amon
connected. Yeah.
Amon yeah, we're not connected to any of these characters, Yukon and none of them. So like you can
Right.
understand and you can kind of feel bad, but you're not feeling bad for characters you care about and
No.
you're not connected to it.
They
You're
just wanted
more
to.
feeling
They
bad
just
about the
wanted.
situation.
They just wanted to let us know, or like visualize, like just two kids
Mhm.
growing up and seeing if we felt something towards
Right.
just two young kids fighting it out and growing apart and running away. That's that's what
Mhm.
it was. And the only reason why I said like Zuko and Ozai in that scene was because of like, Tarlok not wanting to water or bloodbend his
Yeah,
brother.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I said Zuko and Ozai, because it was just like where
The
Zuko didn't.
relationship, yeah, the
Yeah,
relationship dynamic,
yeah,
100% was like that.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because they missed a weird opportunity that maybe they just didn't think of it at that time, but like the whole idea of Yukon being like, "I'm gonna leave here. I'm gonna get a face transplant," and
That
like,
was my favorite. That was
which
my
is so dumb. But they could have done something that's already built into this world. There is the Mother of Faces, which they introduced like a little bit in the live action. She's in the comics. She's the mother of the face dealer.
Mhm.
She grants people new faces and she takes their memories. So they could have done something along the lines of maybe he lost his memory but got it back somehow, had a vague memory of it, or maybe I mean who knows, maybe he got a new
Right,
face and didn't lose his memory, but like that could have been their easy way out instead of this weird face
right.
transplant thing. And then I didn't, to be honest, I knew what they were going for. It was I keep saying this all the time, Cora. They have great concepts. I know what they're going for, but they don't land it.
No,
Like they don't stick the landing. They were rushed. I know it wasn't their fault because Nickelodeon gave them one season and then they gave them another season after it was successful. And then they said, you know what, that was successful. Let's give you two more. So it wasn't like they didn't have all these plans so the show keeps seeming like it ends every season.
right.
But I do feel like there's in a sense of they had a cool concept, and I'll just jump with not only that, but with the idea of hey, the villain can take away bending. That's
Hmm.
something that Aang's problem was fixed with that idea. Now we're gonna have
Right.
the new villain with that idea. But I hate how they made it the blood bending connection.
Yeah,
I wish they found some other way.
yeah. I didn't really agree with that. Bloodbending took it away. To be honest, I just didn't really.
What was it, a
I,
blood clot? Like what? Like how does blood bending take away someone's bending? Yeah, I mean, like that's that. Like that is the thing that it's like, how does blood bending take away one's bending?
right. Doesn't make sense. It didn't. It didn't
It
make
doesn't
sense.
make sense. And that's the thing that kills me because it's like that's an awesome villain. That's an
Yep.
awesome concept.
Yep.
The villain himself was great,
Hmm.
and then you kind of shoehorn this like weird brother relationship. Which okay, you know what? If that's the way you want to do it, you probably could have done it better, but that's fine. But then you're also shoehorning the idea of he's actually a bloodbender and he can bend people's. Somehow he can use that
Right.
to bend people's bending.
Yeah.
It just it fell flat at the end. The last three
Yeah.
episodes, in my opinion, fell flat. Like
I don't disagree.
good beginning, good great middle, kind of messy, but really good episodes.
Yeah.
Ending flat.
I don't disagree. I thought the final episodes were good though, still, but they did fall flat.
Yeah. Yeah,
But they were good
they
enough.
were good
Every
ideas.
episode was above a 3. Every episode was above a 3 for
Mhm,
me.
mhm. I agree. I think the weakest episode is the skeleton in the closet because I didn't like that story.
What number was that?
I think that was episode 11. That's when he
Oh,
tells the
that's
story about
Starlock.
his
Yeah,
brother.
I
Yeah.
I thought that was a better episode than the majority of the series. To be fair,
You know?
like
Yeah.
it was top half.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how they could have done I mean, like, I don't know how they could have done the idea of he could take away bending. Because how could Yukon do it? He could just no, he couldn't do it.
No, you
Amon could
couldn't.
only Amon did it. So I don't know how they could have taken a like made that idea that like he again the fifth element like he unlocked the fifth element somehow
Yeah.
some way.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? But you
I
know,
mean, we'll never find out because the ending of the finale.
yeah, I mean, well, yeah, he can, yeah. So they, no, I mean, we do know he uses blood bending, and that's how he did take. That's how he takes away bending. I was
No,
saying
no.
it
What
would
I
be
mean is though,
interesting
like the
for,
ship exploding and they're gone.
yeah. I mean, yeah. So what's your thoughts on that? Like committing suicide and homicide in a Nickelodeon finale. I mean, that's what happens. Like someone commits suicide and homicide in the last episode
Here's the
of
thing: if you're
of a
if you're
Nickelodeon show.
if you're gonna do that, I just wish Aang would have just yeah. That's what
Yeah,
I just
it's a different show though.
no. If they're gonna do that and portray Korra the finale like that,
Well, but
then they can
Avatar:
do
Last
anything.
Airbender. No, Avatar: Last Airbender could kill people. They killed people in Avatar: Last Airbender,
They
right?
did.
But it was not about can we show people dying in a Nickelodeon show? They do that all the time. They did that all the time back in Nickelodeon. It's Aang's journey. That is what it was about. Aang being a monk. Aang,
No,
yes, it was. Aang being a monk. Aang being a pacifist. Aang not believing in killing. Being getting a now having this ultimate goal to the only way to end the war is to kill the Fire Lord, and he didn't. We talked about this last week, and he didn't
I
believe it,
don't. I disagree.
and that's what made the show even better than
But
just a
Avatar
normal.
Yang Chen, Avatar Yang Chen. That's all you had to listen to.
Yeah, he didn't want to listen to it. Yeah, so
I know, which was the wrong take.
yeah, I mean, we saw people die in that same show, so it's not like Nickelodeon was afraid to kill people. You know,
Yeah,
I think it was just more of that's the route they chose with Aang's story,
I
which
know.
is a good route.
I know.
But how did
Yeah,
you like
yeah.
that whole thing? I mean, how did you like that sequence? You like the
It
did
was
you
good. I mean, just leading up to it with like Korra using airbending as
Mhm,
her only element left
mhm. Yep.
was super cool. I mean,
Mhm.
it was super cool
That
to
was
see
cool.
that. And like Amon was like, "Huh, no,"
Yeah.
and then like everyone finding out that Amon's like a fake in terms of like not really believing in the revolution, that he's a non-bender and all this stuff. Um,
Which real quickly is another interesting way to I feel like Core does this in basically every season. It's like find out interesting ways to defeat the main villain without again just killing him, just defeating him. Okay, the
right,
bad guy of the day, let's kill him. Like other shows do it very like straightforward. It's like how do we defeat the bad guy? Like you couldn't
right,
defeat the bad guy by just killing him.
right,
One, he was a bloodbender, pretty much unstoppable. But two, if you killed him, his entire like everyone would have revolted around you, right? Because
right.
it around him and his cause. So how do you beat him? You show that he's a fake to all of his followers,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what they
Boom.
did. You
Yeah.
know, so that's a really cool way of them doing it. And then to the point where he was like, "We need to get out of here," and then his brother ends up committing suicide with him.
Right.
So that that's an interesting ending. That's a
It
really
is.
dark ending.
It is very dark, and I liked it because it was so dark.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, and then Korra losing her bending and getting it back from Aang, who energy
that
bends
I
her.
disagreed with.
Why? I love the
I
ending.
don't. I don't understand how that. I just like maybe like a refresher.
Mhm.
Like, how's that even possible for that to happen?
Aang energy bends her?
Yes.
Well, Aang has the ability to energy bend. So
But
he can
even
give
in
and
this, even as a spirit, though,
yeah, I mean
that's what I'm trying to say. That's
okay,
like
so you're saying Aang as a spirit doesn't have the ability to bend.
that's what I'm trying to. Yeah,
I would say the easiest way to
like how can
to
he give
work your
that
way
power
around
back?
it. Yeah, I would say the easiest way to work your way around it is it's like it's almost it is an element, but it's also more of a like a spiritual side too. So no, I'm just working my way around it, and it's like
Okay,
the idea that she was in the spirit, she was talking to Aang, and she has the connection with past avatars. I mean, that's I mean, like she has a connection with past avatars. He was somehow able to do it. Like I can understand how that's like, is that a plot hole of like, okay, Aang? Because I mean, we see Roku firebend
right,
now, in the spirit world, and he takes over Aang's body.
correct, and
So
that's how
so
he does
that's
it.
how he's
Yeah.
able to do it. We don't really see.
I just wish the arc was, and I understand like Korra was having trouble airbending throughout
Mhm.
the season a little bit, but I do wish, and I think it would have made her a tougher avatar if she would have relearned those elements again. Like
Yeah,
gone through a very bad, like a turmoil that low where you only know airbending, the element that it took so long for you to know, and then like have you rise up from the ashes and
mhm.
overcome that challenge.
The
I
only
think that
problem about
I
that
really
though,
would have liked that.
the only problem about that though is it would have. I like that. I like the idea of being like we have a fully realized Avatar with 3 seasons. Like it wouldn't have been a fully realized Avatar. It would have been another Avatar story about an Avatar learning each element, one per season, going around the world, meeting new people to help her train and learn the elements. Realistically, he took the bending away. He didn't necessarily, so like she didn't have the ability to learn it. It's not like she just forgot how to do it.
You took it
She
away.
took it
Yeah,
away. So it's not like she could relearn earthbending by just like going and training with
that's a fair
Toph.
point. That's a
So
fair point.
like that's and again it's like do we and she does like in a sense, not to spoil or anything, but like she learns a new sub bending in season 2. She
Mm.
learns in season 3 another sub bending. She does. And then in season 4 she learns not a sub bending, but she very much is at the bottom, like more bottom than I ever thought an Avatar show would go, and she climbs out of it
Okay.
with an awesome way too. Like they do it so great. And season 3, season 4 is so great, and how they do it. So yeah, I mean,
Okay.
and that's why she becomes a better character. And we'll get to that in a second. We're almost done here, but we're going to
Okay.
talk about a couple characters. But like, she's not a liked character in season 1. By season 4, I saw a thing that said that Aang's journey was to become Aang's journey was to become Korra, and Korra's journey was to end by becoming Aang.
I
Like
can see that.
her journey, she has to get to the lowest low for you to start actually liking her, because she went from being a hothead,
Yep.
I'm the Avatar, look at me, to people didn't even want her in the room because they were like, you're not really, you're kind of a half baked Avatar. Like I know they
Right.
talk about that, but like even Tenzin, like by season 4, is like you're not the same. Sorry,
Right.
and
Right.
she has to deal with that. So
Right.
like, and it like kind of gets rough for her. So like, yeah, I mean, how did you feel about what characters did you hate and like
Mm.
in season 1?
A lot of people, and I
A
agree.
lot of people hate them all.
No, I mean a lot of people. All I'm saying is like a lot of people that have seen Korra have told me like, John, you're Bolin. You're just the wacky, funny, trying to be funny, very, uh,
You're Varric.
very dad joke person. And I'm like, I understand that. That's why I liked soccer in the original and all that stuff. Um, I do like Bolin, um, but I think his jokes and stuff come off very childlike, very like more so than like over the top is what I'm trying to say.
It wasn't as
And
Sokka in season 1 and 2 though.
not compared to Bolin at all. Like
Really,
I think there's a stark difference. Yeah,
I like Bolin.
I'm not saying I don't like him. I'm just saying that his I like him, but his jokes are over the top, or
Okay.
his mannerisms, his funniness tries to be over the top a little bit. That's all I'm saying. I like him.
Hmm.
Um, I do like Korra so far. Um,
Okay.
Asami is fine. Honestly, I think my favorite is probably Amon. It was probably Amon.
Oh yeah, he
Yeah.
dies, so it goes downhill from here.
It probably goes Amon,
Tenzin's good. I like Tenzin.
then Tenzin, yeah. And then probably uh uh what's his name?
Mako,
No.
Lin.
Like his youngest son, Tenzin's youngest son.
Oh, Milo.
Milo, yeah,
Yeah,
Milo.
the kids are fun. The kids are fun
Yeah,
comedy relief. Bolin's a fun comedy relief.
yeah.
Varric in season two and
Mm.
and moving forward, season 2, 3, and 4, great comedy relief, great character. Um, yeah, I mean, I will say that like
I
they,
think Asami was cool. There's no one that was bad, I don't
yeah,
think.
they build on all the characters. Like, there's no like Zuko. There's no. I mean, every one of the Avatar: Last Airbender characters are so great. There's none
Yeah.
of those, but they do a good job at building these characters and
So,
making
yeah.
them like
The
by the
dialogue's
end of
good, but
season
it's not
4.
great.
Yeah, like by the end of season
Fine.
4, you're like, I really like I said this before. I think I was just saying this when I talked to you. I remember watching Korra and being like, season 1, okay, season 2, not good. Season 3, liked a lot. Season 4, liked a lot. And then by the time I was done, I was like, I'm gonna miss it. It's like a girlfriend you date for like 6 months, and you're like, the whole time we fought, and there was some okay moments, but we broke up, and you're like, damn, I'm gonna kind of miss her. It's like after Korra was done, I was like, man, I actually really like all these characters. Like I
Right.
and they add more characters, like they flesh out certain characters. So it's just
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, none of them I love, like Zuko or I mean, like any of them, Aang, Sokka, like they
Right.
all have a special kind of bubble. But like they introduce a lot of cool things in certain seasons. They really do. They play around with the idea of I'm not gonna. I mean, it's in season 2, but I love how they play around with the idea of Boomy, his brother, who's a
Mm-hmm.
non-bender.
Yep. For now.
Um, yeah, there's a great scene. I know this isn't season 1, but there's a great scene that's barely talked about when, and you can look at it as cheesy, but I look at it as just so good when his brother Boomy, not
Mm-hmm.
Boomy from the original, but his brother Boomy, who's a non-bender, is talking to his father's statue in the
Mm-hmm.
air temple, in the air temple, apologizing that he's not an airbender, and he like
Yeah.
let him down for not being an airbender. I think
Yeah.
it was such a good scene.
I
Um,
actually remember that
yeah,
from my first watch, and I remember being pretty like,
that's that's a
yeah,
good scene, and that's
yeah,
because we care about Aang, and
right,
Boomy at that point is a newer character, but we have already that like connection with Aang and what Tenzin would mean to Aang, and we, you know what I mean?
right.
Like it makes sense. So,
And that's part of, and I guess maybe that's like part of the fault of the show too, though, because I was like, I like him on because like the mystery behind the mask
mhm,
and the villainous aspect, but
mhm,
and then Tenzin's my second favorite, but it's only because of the relation to Aang and
Aang.
how like you can see like a little bit of the similarity there. Um, but other
Mhm.
than that, I'm not really attached to anybody.
You're not in love with anybody. It's like a bunch of like I like them,
Yeah, exactly.
you know.
Yeah.
No, I feel the same way, and it's like again, a lot of it, I think it's that triangle. Like they spend so long on like 2 or 3 concepts that like are okay, but it doesn't
Yep.
add anything. Like the idea of the arena bending,
Yep.
and it's like cool concept, but they spend 3 episodes on it, and it doesn't
Yep.
make me like any of the characters more. It's just like they spend time fighting in these arenas, and it's like, that rushed relationship with the brothers at the end. It's like, okay,
Hmm.
cool. You introduced why it makes sense that he's a bloodbender and how these guys are related, but then you kill him 2 episodes later. So that whole 3 episode arc you have that ends the series doesn't mean anything,
Right.
and then they spend a lot of time with that love triangle, which is the worst part of the season. And all it does is make you not like Mako as much.
Right.
and which we barely have talked about, but it makes you not like Mako that much, and it makes Asami become a throwaway character where it's like, what do we do with her now in season 2?
Right.
And it makes Katara, not I would say less likable, but not Katara, Korra
Korra.
less likable, but it just makes it so you can't establish other things with her because you're doing this love, like after 3 episodes, you're like, the things I know about Korra is that she's a badass, she's stubborn, and she's in love with Mako.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
that's what you get.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, overall, I'm glad that you thought the series is positive.
But for the season 1, yeah.
Season 1, what do you rank out of 5?
I'm sure if you add them all up together or something, it's probably comes up to around a 3.4, 3.5.
Yeah, that's why I would put it too. I'd put it like a 3.5. Yeah.
I know season 2 is going to be like a 1.5, but
Yeah, I would say that out of the 4 seasons, season 2 is the only negative, but there are 2 great episodes in it that were back to back.
okay.
Season 3, I would probably give probably a 4, maybe
Okay.
even a 4.25, and then season 4, I would probably bid 0.25 under that. So a
Okay.
4, like a 4, 3.75. Like this in my opinion is the second to worst season.
Right.
It goes to me, it goes 3, 4, 1, 2.
Sure.
So
Cool. I can't wait to
well,
get there. But season 2 will be whenever I finish it. Don't know when that will be, but
tomorrow,
uh, it's starting tomorrow. Yeah.
12:30. Get on it. No.
Yeah. But yeah, we just decided to do this review of
Yeah.
Korra since I've only barely seen it. Haven't seen it in a while, and Matt's more of an expert at Korra than I am.
Nah.
Seen it 4, 5, 6 times. Though I'm halfway there with your season 1 because this is my 3rd time in season 1.
You'll be an expert at it more than me because I haven't seen it in a while. Like it's been a couple years.
Yeah, well,
So
yeah. But yeah, so just more insight and more like raw thinking about
mhm.
what I, John Stadenwasser, the expert of Avatar: The Last Airbender, thinks about Legend of Korra.
3.5.
Out of
All
5.
right. All right, Cabbage Crew. Please subscribe.
Comment below what you think of Korra. Is season 1 good? Do you think it's worth pursuing? Please comment below.
Should you rewatch it for the 4th time? Should I rewatch it for the 7th time?
Stairway to 7.
All right. See you.
See you, Cabbage Crew.